Living here in Florida and just not quite sure what to expect with a hurricane? I'll tell you all about them. I'm born and raised here, so I might have experienced a thing or two. First off, hurricane season runs June 1st to November 30th. A lot of times, things might crop up in the tropics a little before June 1st, but in general, that's the season time. Hurricanes are among Mother Nature's most destructive and powerful phenomena. As many people, though, in a lot of the neighborhood groups and many Tampa transplants mention, at least with hurricanes, you have a bit of warning, so you can get out or just make sure that you are prepared, unlike tornadoes, earthquakes, or any other natural disasters. Before the season starts, or as soon as you can, make sure to stock up on a handful of great hurricane supplies. First off, you want to make sure you have all of your important documents together, such as social security cards, birth certificates, all of that. Make sure you have them in like a waterproof and fireproof safe, or have copies somewhere. Even making digital copies is a whole lot of help. Next thing on your list would be emergency power sources. Hurricanes often come with tons of things that can knock out all of the power to an area. So you want to make sure you have flashlights, generators, things of that nature. Even candles would help. And don't forget the extra batteries for those flashlights. If you are on daily medications or very regular medications, make sure you have an extra stock of those before the hurricane gets there. You would never want to be stuck without your important medicines in the middle of being without power and everything else that comes with it. You would also want to make sure you have a stock of common other medications that you would find in a first aid kit, such as ibuprofen, maybe bug bite stuff, or anything of that nature. One of the biggest things would be a food and water supply. You would want definitely unperishable foods that you could probably cook or prepare without needing a source of heat or a microwave or anything with power. Or if you have a grill, you might end up grilling for a couple days if you're out of power. Next thing to make sure you are super prepared when a hurricane strikes is fill up your gas tank. You never know when you might need to get out right away, even if you hadn't tried to evacuate ahead of time. You would want to also move your cars and trucks into the garage if you can, or at least under some kind of cover. You would always want to make sure you keep an emergency kit in your car. I think that goes for any time of year, but especially important during hurricane season. Next up would be clear your yard. If there's things that could fly around, such as debris, patio furniture, anything like that, you'd want to either get them in or get them tied down, or just get them somewhere where they wouldn't be blown away. Another obvious thing, maybe not so obvious, would be cover up all windows and doors, whether with plywood, hurricane shutters, or anything of the like. At the very least as well, make sure you know how to turn off your power and where the breaker box is and all of that good stuff, to be sure that you can turn off your power if you see flooding, down power lines, or have to evacuate. Again, going back to the food and water supplies, is make sure you have plenty of water for a couple of days for every person in your household to last. Also, make sure you fill up sinks and bathtubs with some water, some clean water, so that you guys can at least bathe and you're not stinky by the end of the whatever time you end up without power. Also, if you have a carbon monoxide detector, make sure you test it beforehand, as well as any fire detector or smoke detectors. Always listen to authorities on all kinds of the warnings, as well as when, where, and how, and if you need to evacuate. Please never try to stay it out if they tell you to evacuate. You never know how bad these storms can get. They can always get worse, but if you're told to stay home, stay home. Driving conditions may be unsafe by the time that you go to leave. Make sure you have an emergency plan and share it with your whole family so everybody is aware and everybody knows what's going on if something were to happen. Keep checking for updates, watch TV, listen to the radio. We do have these great things now with many of the news stations, as they've got their own app, so you can keep aware of it even if you don't have cable or maybe trying to get ready or something. You can always use your app on your phone if you have a smartphone. Call the hospital, public health department, and the police about any kind of special needs anybody in your family might have when it comes to anything from medical concerns or anything of the sort. Make sure you have your pets and any farm animals, if you have a farm animal at least, in a safe place. Make sure you have shelter for them and make sure that they are well taken care of as well. I know we've all heard about many of these animals being displaced during hurricanes in other parts of the country. So what is the difference between a hurricane watch and a hurricane warning? A hurricane watch basically means to watch for the hurricane. That means that hurricane conditions may be possible in an area. Now, a hurricane warning means that, hey, there is a hurricane and it's coming. So you want to make sure that you are aware of the difference and that you are, again, listening to the authorities when they say to evacuate or, stay where you are or what have you. Last but not least, if you're around the Tampa Bay area for any length of time during hurricane season, you will hear talk about rule number 7. This was coined by awesome meteorologist Dennis Phillips, who has been here in the area for many years. He is chief meteorologist and weatherman for ABC Action News. He has a great informative Facebook page. He also now has great merchandise with rule number 7 on it. Oh hey, what is rule number 7? It says stop freaking out until I tell you to. We're fine. Or along those lines, essentially. He kind of says it a little bit differently all the time, especially in the middle of hurricane season where he's talking about any kind of depression that's going on down in the Atlantic or over in the Gulf, anything that's starting to form. He always makes sure to say rule number 7 and remind you, hey, don't freak out about it until it's really a problem. If you got any other questions, I'll provide some links down below for some great information, great stuff to Dennis Phillips's information, as well as other kinds of national information on hurricane preparedness. If you like this video, check out my one about free things to do in Tampa. If you love this video, subscribe to my channel, please.